I wave.
I think that's okay. Oh no, it's just. Okay. So, my name is Shawn Clark, and I'm here to talk to you about vaccinations in children. With all of the diseases and illnesses in the United States, most people know that they can be either deadly or um, harmful. Most people usually want to protect their loved ones, especially their children, including myself. I believe that all children should be vaccinated because some of these diseases can be severe, uh, in which they can be deadly or harmful. Vaccines are also safe and effective, and vaccines are cost efficient to use. The next slide. This represents a sick child, obviously. But according to vaccines.gov, some of the childhood vaccinations that a child would get are hepatitis B, tetanus, measles, mumps, rubella, HPV, and rabies vaccine. So hepatitis B is a disease that can lead to cirrhosis of the liver. Tetanus, that's an infection that can lead to lockjaw. In some cases, it can lead to death if it's not treated. Measles, mumps, and rubella are not as severe, but they can be fatal in infants. HPV is an STD, but it can be transferred during childbirth to the child, and that can actually lead to cervical cancer mainly, but there's also other types of cancer that can be related to that. And then there's rabies, which is a infection that is caused by the saliva of an animal that has rabies, and that is pretty much always fatal. Next slide. Okay. Vaccines are safe because they will protect your child, in which it will reduce the chance that they will contract the disease, and if they do happen to contract the disease that they have been vaccinated for, the symptoms will be much less severe. It'll also protect the people around them, so it really reduces the risk of like an epidemic. Measles has actually been coming back due to people not getting vaccinated. And vaccines are effective because there were diseases that were prevalent in the United States earlier, such as polio and smallpox, that were actually eradicated due to vaccinations. And another reason to get your child vaccinated is because most public schools require your child to be vaccinated before they can attend school. According to vaccines.procon.org, in Kentucky, for a child to attend kindergarten, they need to have a hepatitis B vaccine and a measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. And then there are some people that say that vaccines can cause autism. And there's also people that say natural immunities are better than vaccinations. In an article written by the College of Physicians in Philadelphia on historyofvaccines.org, there have been numerous studies that they've literally taken each ingredient out of these vaccinations and tested to see whether they would cause autism, but there is still no connection that leads vaccines to autism. With natural immunities do last longer. However, if you were to get a natural infection, they are a lot more severe unless you have the vaccination. An example is, let's say you have 1,000 people with measles. 1 out of that 1,000, this is with people without vaccinations, 1,000 people with measles, 1 out of that 1,000 would get encephalitis, which is inflammation of the brain, and 2 out of that 1,000 would die. And on the other hand, if you have 1,000,000 people who are vaccinated with the measles vaccination, only 1 would develop encephalitis due to an allergic reaction to the vaccine. Vaccines are not only safe and effective, they're also cost efficient. According to CDC.gov, hepatitis B vaccine without insurance is about $120 to $370, but if you don't vaccinate your child and it does progress to cirrhosis of the liver, your child may need a liver transplant, and it can also lead to liver cancer. So if you don't, you need a liver transplant, or it can lead to death if you don't have a liver transplant. So tetanus, that's only a $20 vaccination, but in severe cases, if you don't have a tetanus shot, you can have really difficulty breathing, and you could have the possibility of being put on a mechanical ventilation system in a hospital, and that's about $1,500 per day. With HPV, that's $130 to $150 without insurance, but if you don't receive the vaccine for that, can develop cancer, and cancer treatments are in the thousands. But the good thing about HPV vaccines is that even if you do contract it, the vaccinations that they do have for HPV are meant to make you immune to the strains that can cause cancer. And then there's the rabies vaccine, which is also only about $20. And that, let's say your child were to get bit by a rabid dog with rabies and they didn't have a rabies shot. The average post-exposure shot can be anywhere up to $3,000 because you need about 4 doses over like a 2-week period. So this is why you should get your child vaccinated. So the question really is, should you vaccinate your child? And the answer should be yes, because diseases can be severe and deadly. Vaccines are safe and effective, and vaccines are cost efficient too. Thank you all for listening.